I've tracked this expert down, and she is here to teach you how to understand, deal with, negotiate against, and even get what you want from the narcissistic people in your life. Your mom, your dad, your daughter-in-law, your ex, your boss, they're going to have no idea what hit them when you're done listening to this. So the expert today is Rebecca Zung. And Rebecca literally wrote the book on this topic. The book is called Slay the Bully: How to Negotiate with a Narcissist and Win. And here's what I really love about her take on this topic. She's a trial lawyer. I'm a former trial lawyer. I love people who think like lawyers. And on this topic of narcissism, she's not taking a clinical approach. She's attacking this topic like a litigator. She's advocating for you. And you know what? She's showing up to win. She is one of the top ranked trial lawyers in the United States. And Rebecca became an expert in this topic because she needed to get a strategy. See, she's been researching narcissism for decades. Why? So she could understand the narcissism that she was seeing in opponents and outsmart them in the courtroom. She wanted to know how they thought, how they think, their psychological disposition, and that's how she became an expert in this topic. And she's here to teach you how a narcissistic person thinks, acts, how to identify their emotional cycles and reactions, and also, and this is the really good part, their tactics, so that you can rise above it, so that you don't get sucked into it. And if you pay attention and you apply what you learn, because this is not just a listening podcast, it's a learning one, you will also master Rebecca's 4-part proven strategy for negotiating with narcissistic people in your life. And if you do that, you're going to win every single day. If you listen closely to what Rebecca Zung is saying, she is saying, based on her research, this is something that happens neurologically during childhood. That's why there's so much denial on the part of the narcissist. They're not aware. So after the love bombing, though, and you now are in business with somebody, and you now have given somebody equity, or you have put them into your bank accounts, or you think you're running off and getting married, there's all of a sudden a second stage. What is that stage, Rebecca?
The devalue is, that's when you start to see kind of the wheels come off. That's when they start to like exhale, and that's where you start to see like the red flags, and there's no more of the 50 emails a day. That's where you start to see the lying. As soon as you get to this part, they've locked you in, they've gotten here, which is what they've been looking for. This is where they kind of relax, because they've kind of been holding their breath, trying to get you. And now they've gotten you. And so now they sort of exhale, and you get to start to see that mask come down a little bit. And, now you start to see all the red flags. Their stories aren't holding up. Now you start to see lies. Now you start to see manipulation. Now, that money that they borrowed from you, well, they're not probably ever going to pay it back. But they're starting to lie about, and that degree that they said they had, well, it's not really a degree, it's really something else. And that brother-in-law that they said was actually a thing, well, that's not really a thing. That project that they said they were going to do for you, well, that's probably not going to get done. And all these things are starting to happen, and the 50 calls a day, well, now they don't call you at all, and now how come you're so needy? And it just becomes this whole relationship that you didn't think it was at all. And you're trying to chase and get that back again. But then when you start to walk away, well, then they make promises for the future. And it becomes this whole toxic stew, push, pull, push, pull, push, pull, which is also plays upon your brain, because now you're getting these dopamine hits, so you become physiologically addicted to this person, and that causes a trauma bond in you.
I would love to have you unpack this. Can you, because as you're describing this, Rebecca, my heart is sinking because I have watched someone that I love deeply go from a very strong, centered, powerful person to questioning themselves relentlessly and putting up with bullshit lies and kind of that, oh, I never said that, and you're needy, and kind of that pushback and questioning themselves. And I have not known what to do. And so, can you explain what you mean when you use that term, addicted?
Yes. So there's a study by a professor from Stanford called, his name is Robert Sapolsky, and he did a study on monkeys, and the monkeys would get a reward every single time they did something good, and nothing happened in their brain. Then he would give these monkeys a reward intermittently, and they didn't know when they were going to get this reward. And when they didn't know, then the dopamine levels in their brain actually rose to the level of cocaine.
I'm so glad you are bringing this study up, Rebecca, in the context of narcissism, because I'm very familiar with the study. And just to kind of broaden this out for you listening, this is a really well-known study that's normally talked about in the context of addiction. It was done with monkeys. And here's what it proved. It proved that not getting the reward all the time is what got the monkeys addicted. I can give you another example that'll make sense. Envision a slot machine. When you go and you pull the lever or you push the button on the slot machine and you watch those things like twirl, right? As you are craving a win and you don't get it, oh, what do? Boom, you hit it again. All of a sudden you get a win. Oh my God, amazing. So now what do? You hit it again, and then you hit it again, and then you hit it again, and you hit it again, and now you get a win again. But it's not consistent, is it? See, it's the inconsistency. It's the fact that it might be really good. That's what causes the addiction to it. And so this is really important to understand when in the context of narcissism, because the praise and the love bombing and the attention from the narcissist, it's totally unpredictable. Like 1 minute you're the center of the world and they love you and you're this and you're that and the other thing. And then boom, the wind changes and you're in the phase of discard. You're like literally, they don't even talk to you. And that's what makes you feel like a monkey addicted to cocaine who doesn't know when it's going to come next. And this is also why you can have a super smart, rational, accomplished girlfriend and watch her become a complete cocaine addicted monkey when she gets in a relationship with a narcissist. You see the love bombing. Then you see the inconsistent behavior. Then you try to appeal to her rationally, but then she's back into the love bombing. And it's just like gambling or any other addiction. Because it's so inconsistent, you literally get addicted to the person because you're waiting for that next round of the love bombing to come. This makes so much sense.
Right. The conclusion was that when you are dealing with a narcissistic type of a person, that the anticipation of this love bomb, you actually become physiologically addicted to this person, and that is partially what contributes to this trauma bond, is that your brain becomes physiologically addicted to that hit of wanting that back.
I have seen this dynamic play out with somebody I love deeply in a relationship. These first two phases of the relationship. The first one being the love bombing, everybody. And the second one now is this sort of devaluing that makes the person spin. But then there's this third phase of a narcissistic relationship, this cycle that you can get in. And you label this the discard phase.
Yeah, so the discard phase can be either you're discarding them or they're discarding you. I mean, this is where, it's the end of the relationship, and you will see the birth of the smear campaign for sure. But, this is where you will definitely become public enemy number one. And because you're either for them or against them. And so even with the covert narcissist, the mask will definitely come off and they will come after you because they want to make sure they take you down before you can take them down.
So, Rebecca, if you are in that discard phase where they've withdrawn, the lies are coming out, the truth is starting to get revealed, you say there's only 3 options when you realize you're in this phase. What are they?
Well, you can stay, you can give exactly what they want, or you can fight back and do it in a way that's strategically which you have to do. You have to do. I was the people pleaser, though. I wanted to be liked. I didn't want to, I didn't want other people who were in our circle to think that I was the bad one. She was all likable, and I didn't want people to be mad at me. And, I had all this stuff that I needed to get past so that I could speak up and stand on my own 2 feet. And thank God I did.
Thank God you did, because now you're here to teach us how to do the same thing and how to try to support the people that we see stuck in this to do the same thing. For somebody listening who has been caught in this cycle and they don't even know what their value is because they're so spun around, where do you begin? How do you define it if you don't even know what it is because you're that
Those baby steps, little baby steps. Once you start little baby stepping it and you start to see little steps, that's why, little wins every single day start to stack up. And when you start to see, oh, you know what, I did it. I started to create a boundary today and it worked. I started to do this a little bit today and it worked. That's where you start to stack up those wins and you start to turn it around and you'll see it'll work. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you loved this interview, make sure you go check out the whole entire thing, which you can watch right here.